Greetings from Idaho, the 43rd state to join the Union, which it did on July 3, 1890. With a population of 1.4 million, it's the 39th most populous state in the nation.
Well, I grew up in a really small mining town called Triumph in Idaho, so when I think back to my childhood and my favorite memories, it was the ultimate freedom. We just could roam, and we cruised, and we rode our bikes, and we hiked, and we cut down our own Christmas tree, and just living. And it was just raw living and freedom.
The drama and freedom of Idaho is found in its wilderness. The numbers tell the story. 30 state parks, 13 national forests, 93,000 miles of rivers and streams. It's no wonder that this state is a mecca for anglers and sportsmen from all around the country.
Some of the most spectacular and beautiful scenery in the Sawtooth and Lost River ranges and some of the places in Idaho that are just absolutely amazing places. And it's a place where you can go and hike for a few hours and find a place where you may not see another person for weeks at a time. You can find solitude in Idaho, and we like that.
Many anglers are lured to Idaho by the official state fish, the cutthroat trout, so named for a distinctive red slash on the underside of its lower jaw. The great fishing has helped boost the tourist industry. But for many years, the state's most important economic leaders were mining and agriculture.
Idaho is a divided state in many ways. Northern Idaho has a mining community development. Southern Idaho has an agricultural development, mostly from Mormon settlement, beginning in the 1870s.
As the numbers of Mormon pioneers in Utah's Salt Lake Valley area increased, some of them moved north to start a new farming community. Little did they know they were in Idaho, not Utah, and that what they were planting would become the state's most famous crop. Today, agriculture accounts for just 15% of the annual gross state product. But when people hear Idaho, they think potatoes. Production of this tuber ranks first in the nation. In fact, the world's largest baked potato may well be in Blackfoot, Idaho.
This is the biggest potato in Idaho. You probably wouldn't want to eat it. It's made of chicken wire and a whole bunch of stuffing inside.
An Idaho baked potato is the best thing I've ever eaten in my life.
Mashed with herbs and butter.
In a casserole with lots of cheese.
Just a little salt and pepper and butter, and I'm happy.
I like them most anyway.
French fries, fry sauce, cold beer. Takes up the whole afternoon.
If you like your potatoes cut up and fried, chances are you're eating Idaho russets. 2/3 of all U.S. processed potatoes are grown in Idaho soil. Not surprisingly, they're prepared and packaged here as well.
We have good soil. We have probably the best thing that we have is the ideal day-night temperature and summer temperature regime. The climate is ideal for potato production.
Botanist Luther Burbank developed his famous russet potato in New England. Eventually, it became a favorite Idahoan crop.
The Idaho russet is the best baking potato that there is. It's light and fluffy when you bake it and tastes real good.
And if you like French fries, thank Jack Simplot, who figured out how to cut and freeze large quantities of the popular item. Today, the J.R. Simplot Company is one of the world's largest frozen potato processors, annually turning out 3 billion pounds of French fries and other potato products.
J.R. Simplot was another pioneer in the potato industry. He started pulling together the shipping industry and putting together a more sophisticated system for delivering potatoes to the public. And he became, by about 1940, the largest shipper of potatoes out of Idaho.
Idaho Potato campaign is one of the most popular and successful commodity advertising campaigns in history, rivaled really only by Wisconsin cheese.
But there's a lot more to Idaho than potatoes. Few know that Idaho's Shoshone Falls is called the Niagara of the West. Even fewer know that Shoshone is actually higher than those famous falls in New York. And if you're looking for the deepest gorge in America, don't look to the Grand Canyon in Arizona. Idaho's Hell's Canyon takes that prize. Idaho is also the home to Dick Fosbury, who revolutionized the high jump with the Fosbury flop. Many decades ago, the gold in the Olympic medal Fosbury won in 1968 could have come from Idaho. The famed 49ers, 20,000 strong, passed through the state on their way to California goldfields. 11 years later, many of them returned for Idaho's own gold rush.
In Idaho, the gold rush begins in the early 1860s.
Elias Pierce came up in 1860 in the Clearwater country and found gold along the creeks there and established a town named after him, Pierce, the oldest mining town in Idaho today.
Gold was just the start of it. Deep inside Idaho, rich mineral deposits of lead, copper, zinc, and silver were also discovered. Mining became the state's first major industry.
The nature of mining changes in Idaho drastically by the 1890s, as it does throughout the West. No longer is it dominated by small-scale prospectors who are just panning for gold. Now, in order to mine in a competitive Idaho mining industry, you need a lot of financial backing. You need large-scale equipment.
Once that movement ends, it's replaced by corporate. These are corporate companies that come in. They require a tremendous amount of infrastructure to get to this lead and silver. It requires taking out large chunks of the hillside.
Northern Idaho's aptly named Silver Valley has been a mining center since the mid-19th century. Today, the state is third to Alaska and Nevada in silver production. Above ground, the riches are just as plentiful and much easier to find.
The best thing about Idaho is, one, it's cool shape on the map, and kids can remember it, which I think is neat. Two, its location and its climate. The snow, obviously being a skier, I love the snow there. The winters are huge, the summers are warm. The seasons are dramatic. You know, you can feel that difference, and it's really intense. And you really feel like you're living and you're one with it all when you can feel it that much.
This state slogan, the heart of Dixie, reflects a complex political and social history. Until the 1960s,